Good morning, everyone. Start out slowly this morning. It's Monday morning, October 13th. Another beautiful fall day. It was a wonderful weekend. Got a lot of work done, but I'm real stiff. I used discretion this morning, didn't ride my bike in the fog, so I just came in early. We have a lot to do this morning and today. We have 7 or 8 sentences. It's going to be a short lunch today. Anyway, thank you all for saying good morning. Today is Columbus Day, and you know how I feel not much good about Columbus. I don't know why he got a day since he was a terrible person. What he did here was terrible, but he gets a day. Anyway, I've already got somebody in the waiting room, and today's first line is not actually the first line of the song. First line of the song is the chorus, but this is the first line of the first verse of the song. And some of you will know it. In my life, this might be my theme song. First line of the first verse for our shared humanity dose today. Maybe you'll listen to this song, it'll make you smile. I'll be over at 10. You told me time and again, but you're late. I wait around and then I went to the door. I can't take anymore. It's not you. You let me down again. This song's fun to sing. It's not Freebird. Anyway, Mr. Rognus is in the waiting room. We've got a contested matter right at 8:30. Go to that in a minute. Everybody's here. Judge Patterson's here. And all the staff is here, and it's business as usual. And it is a beautiful 73 degree sunny October day. So we've been very fortunate. I'll be over at 10. You told me time and again. Nobody knows it, so maybe I'll look it up. Anyway, Indigenous Day is better than Columbus Day. I'm scheduled to do a radio morning DJ stint on November 11th. As I indicated, somebody, well, I'm not sure, keeps paying money to the United Way to have me be a radio DJ. I have the day off, so I'll use it for that. And we'll pay some tribute to veterans that day too. Okay, thanks for saying good morning. Time to get to work. You can sing that song, it'll make you feel better. Makes me feel better every time I hear it. Told it was Diane Sawyer from ABC News, her favorite song. I like it. That's the only joint criteria here, but we can all share a little bit. Maybe we'll all listen to that song today and feel better. There's a lot to feel bad about. But we need a little dose of a common song each day. All right, I've got the alleged Andrew Rognus in the waiting room. He's always early. I need you more than anyone, darling. All right, we're back. We're about to address our criminal matters. And we've got the defendants. We don't have either of our attorneys. Christine Yancey is in Judge Patterson's court next door. She's covering for Jordan, who had 6 of the 7 cases set. Maybe I'm too smart for my own good. I try to not spread the attorneys around. I try to schedule many cases for the same attorney on the same date. But then if we develop a problem, we are high and dry. Although to her credit, Georgia did not ask to try to adjourn all these cases. She simply got coverage from her partner. All right, so we've got Mr. Yoder is here. Mr. Tim is here. Justin Tim. Good morning, sir. Are you Justin Wayne Tim?
Yes, sir. Good morning.
Mr. Tim, attorney Christine Yancey is here. She's partners with her daughter, Jordan Yancey, who was actually appointed to represent you. Do you have any objection to Christine Yancey representing you at this hearing this morning?
No, Your Honor. She's
got 30 years of experience and is well capable of handling this matter. I appreciate her being here. This is file 251632FY. This started out as bad and got worse. They were charged originally with fleeing, eluding a police officer, 3rd degree, resisting and obstructing a police officer, and reckless driving. The felony charges were dismissed, and you entered a plea to attempted resisting, obstructing a police officer. The felony of resisting and obstructing was dismissed. Fleeing, eluding charge was also dismissed, and you pled to reckless driving, which does carry a suspension. This matter is set for sentencing this morning. Prosecutor Angelique Camfield is here on behalf of the prosecutor's office. This was reduced from a felony to a misdemeanor, which was a huge gift as far as I'm concerned. Ms. Yancey, what would you like me to know here?
Your Honor, at the time of the PCC, this matter was set out for the sentencing date because he is being reviewed for the a specialty treatment court in Van Buren County. And as of today, he has done the assessment. He's done all the meetings he needed to do. He's still waiting for them to make a response to that. His contact person is Chelsea there in Van Buren. He does have an attorney of record there as well. They anticipate within 2 to 3 weeks they will know if he is eligible for that program. And I think, Your Honor, from Ms. Harden's notes was that you wanted to know if he was getting into that program or not. So we certainly would not object to setting this out for a few more weeks to make sure if he does get in that program.
I don't really want to do that. I'm glad he's getting in the program, but this is bad. He doesn't just get a free ride because he's going into treatment program. We need to put closure to this, and they can still consider him for that. Ms. Camfield, what's your thought here?
Your Honor, given the dispatch review that I'm reading, they were going to stop him because he was apparently harassing somebody on a bicycle riding along next to him or her, and then took off because he also had no plate on the bike. 137 miles per hour, wrong side of the road, blowing stop signs, crossing at and passing at a double yellow. 90 miles per hour, 98 miles per hour, 96, all the way into Cass County. Like, this could have been really a horrible incident had he blown a stop sign and been struck or struck someone else who was properly proceeding. In fact, it likely would have resulted in his death from an accident like that at these speeds. So I frankly think that a pretty lengthy jail term is appropriate. Let him do time here and then hopefully be clean during that amount of time and then proceed with his drug court if he's accepted in Van Buren. I just don't think that duplicative probation here would be helpful. And if the drug court is what he needs, hopefully he can get into that there. But this definitely warrants time in custody.
All right, thank you. Mr. Tim, what would you like to tell me?
Yeah, there's no excuse for my actions. I definitely was under the influence at the time.
Of what, meth?
Yeah. I'm just trying to be a better person. I want the stability in my life. I understand the jail terms, what's got to happen. I wasn't not harassing a pedestrian. She's actually sitting in the courtroom. She's actually the one that's been with me through all the court cases on this. I don't know where that came from, but
I don't know,
I
but
just,
you weren't supposed to be driving. You didn't have a plate on there.
yeah,
But this is bad. This started in Three Rivers at Broadway and Constantine Street at that four-way intersection.
is that railroad tracks on Broadway?
And it went all the way to M40 out Hoffman Road. You went Broadway to Ferguson or to Coon Hollow.
Yeah.
I mean, most going to Ferguson to Coon Hollow to Hoffman. And then, as you know, it's hilly and curvy out there going back to the future, and then got to M40 and they I'm surprised they chased you that far, frankly. But this is scary stuff. And this was a fast bike and it was dark. It was almost 11 o'clock at night, in the middle of the summer in July. I appreciate your acceptance of reality here.
Yeah.
On the reckless driving, you're going to get your license suspended. I'm going to order 2 days jail credit, 2 days.
I've been doing nothing but keeping my focus on staying at work and working.
All right,
Ever
that's fair
since.
enough. There's no fun. Where are you working?
I work with a good friend of mine, Hammer Bright Services Construction out of Decatur, Michigan.
I think you told me that before.
Yeah, he's definitely my backbone. He's helped me through a lot.
But you don't live in Van Buren County, do you? I thought you lived in Portage.
Yeah, I was living in Lawton and then moved to Portage.
Well, I'm not sure whether they're going to take you in their program, but
I work in Decatur and I stay with my boss most of the time.
all right. And that's where you went. You went up 140 and blasted your way home, and you thought you were over the hump until they figured it out.
I got pulled over 2 days later.
Yes.
No plate. And
Which is again DUMB.
yeah,
I'm going to order 92 days jail credit 2, leaving 90 days to serve. And they can accept you into the program after that. There's good time calculated in there, which is about 75 days. There's a $75 crime victims' rights fee and a $50 state minimum fee, $125 or 2 additional days. You're going to do 90 days here minus good time, and that'll give them time to determine whether they want to put you in their program or not. But as Ms. Camfield said, there's no sense in having you on 2 probations. But this was not good at all. I could have thought seriously about 180 days. But if you're going to get into a treatment program, I don't want to make you wait 180 days.
appreciate it.
So we'll try this. But you can go with the officer. And those are both concurrent. You're good to go.
Yeah, you said the 75 on the CVR and the 50 for the state and then the
Yes.
attorney.
I waived the attorney fee
Maybe
and the
attorney,
fine.
okay.
I did the minimum allowable. Um, I don't want to chase him for money after he gets done.
What's the charge, sir?
Attempted resisting and obstructing a police officer and reckless driving. Let's address, what was our other 1030 matter? 5 of them. That's 11. That's 11.
Mr. Yoder, Your Honor.
Let's do Darren Yoder.
Would you like at the podium or to have a seat?
Just have a seat.
Before we start, Your Honor, I would like to apologize. I would like to address the court.
Yes?
I gave you, when I was here last, I gave you the wrong dates that I was not in the state of Michigan. I told you 2022 to 2024, and it was actually August of 2022 or 2020 to July-ish of 22. So I apologize. I was not trying to deceive the court.
Okay. Well, I did get the videos of those, and it's all you. It's not your brother or some mysterious stranger. I think Mr. Frazine is joining us. This was a charge of operating while intoxicated. The defendant had an extremely high blood alcohol level, scary, dangerous blood alcohol level. The defendant contended that a lot of the stuff in his priors weren't him. So I was taken by surprise by it. I thought, well, let's back up. So then he acknowledged that they were him or some of them. And then we got the videos and they're him. All right. So we're back to the sentencing on a charge of operating while intoxicated.
Yes, one quick thing. I apologize, Your Honor. I don't mean to interrupt. Again, all I did was just maneuver the vehicle 2 parking spaces.
I understand. Now, you acknowledged to Daniel that you had driven otherwise, but what they actually have, and Daniel and I discussed this morning, is just this bit of driving in the parking lot. But this was scary how intoxicated you were and how functional you were at that high of a blood alcohol level. But I understand the actual hot facts of the case are this little bit of driving in the parking lot. With that in mind, Ms. Yancey, what would you like me to know?
Well, Your Honor, Mr. Yoder has made his court appearances. He had participated in the pre-sentence report with the probation department. And we would ask Your Honor to consider gearing some form of a probation that will help with him to keep his sobriety. So we would ask for probation versus jail as a sentence.
Ms. Camfield, you were here, I think, when we went down the rabbit hole of who was who. So was Daniel, but I think you did some of the same analysis I did. Anything that was relevant here was this defendant. And I'm sure you had some eloquent words for me on that day, but I don't remember what they were. So you tell me again.
Your Honor, I believe, looking at the criminal history that's in the report, Mr. Yoder has been involved with the criminal justice system since 1994 on a pretty consistent basis, almost annually until approximately 2008, when there was a short period of time where he may have been in custody from 2008 to 2016.
I think he was.
And then we see him back again with another felony offense involving the delivery of controlled substances or possession with intent to deliver. And then some disturbing the peace and driving offenses thereafter, this one inclusive. While I agree with Ms. Yancey that he absolutely has alcohol dependency at peace functional at a 0.351, I also agree with Mr. Frazine that if all of these years of probations and rehabilitative attempts have not assisted Mr. Yoder in staying sober and recognizing the benefit of contributing to society instead of detracting from it in a criminal fashion, I don't know how a probation would at this point, given his age. He's 44 years old, and with this lengthy history, he's not making an attempt. He wasn't even honest with the probation agent and the court initially when we were here for the sentencing the first time. And now we're having excuses made that, oh, I was wrong about the dates, I was gone. I just don't think he's an honest person. And I think that the jail recommendation of Mr. Frazan is more than appropriate. And I frankly think that 90 days is appropriate under these circumstances with that blood alcohol. I recognize that he claims he only drove 2 spots down in the parking lot, but he was also drinking in the vehicle, which is unlawful, and did strike another vehicle while he was moving the car. I'm glad that wasn't a pedestrian.
I never struck a vehicle.
We talked about that last time. I don't know how your vehicle touched another vehicle. I'm not sure how much damage it did.
But I only have one felony that I'm actually guilty of.
I'm not gonna beat you up on your felony record. Mostly I'm gonna try to focus on this. You have no license.
No, sir.
They dismissed a driving suspended charge. This occurred on June 15th. You got another driving suspended on August 1st, which was dismissed as a freebie as part of this. And whatever else you were doing, I don't know if you drove 12 miles before you got there. And you sometimes
driven anywhere.
All right. And so all we really have is you being very, very intoxicated, driving this vehicle across the parking lot. You weren't terribly disrespectful to the officers, but your worldview is skewed. You drink alcohol all day because it's cheaper than water. It's just part of who you are. And as Ms. Campfield said, I don't think I'm gonna fix that with a probation again. You do have a significant other. I think she's a positive in your life.
She's a very big positive in my life.
I think
She's sitting right there.
She's been here every time. I think you'd be living in a cardboard box somewhere if it weren't for her. Daniel, anything to add?
No, I think we pretty much covered it, Your Honor.
Ms. Campfield, did we find any reimbursement from the MSP?
I have not, Your Honor.
We didn't see it last time.
No.
All right, the guidelines, in this case, Daniel's recommendation was at the top end. I'm gonna order at the bottom end. No probation. 31 days, credit 2, leaving 29 days to serve. I'm gonna waive all the fines. I keep doing this. I don't think the state likes it much, but there's no police reimbursement. I'm gonna waive the attorney fee, screening fee. I don't want a probation. I don't want to try to collect any money. $125 for 2 additional days. All right, you're gonna get 29 days. My minus good time, which is about 24 days. If you're a trustee, you'll be out sooner than that. This might be hard for you. You might go into alcohol withdrawal.
Oh, I doubt that. I'm not that bad of an
All right.
alcoholic.
Well, I hope not. All right, you got about 24 days of clean time. Good
Is it
luck.
okay if I give my fiance a kiss before I go?
No, that sometimes can result in transfer of.
Oh, no, I'll have my hand behind my
Oh,
back.
no.
in
No,
close.
you're good to go. You should have kissed her on the way in.
Okay.
All right, you kiss her when you see her at the
What
end.
was the charge, sir?
Operating while intoxicated, first offense.
Okay.
I'll see you in a few, baby.
All right, Mr. Yoder, we'll just make the best of it.
This way, sir.
Oh, pardon me.
This is another tough case this morning. This is People versus Ashley Jean Miller. That's you, sir?
Yes, sir.
You're here with your lawyer, Christine Yancey. Your actually court-appointed lawyer is Jordan Yancey.
No, this is
No.
actually. retained
Oh, yeah,
case.
this is
I
your
was sick
retained
2
case.
weeks. I'm still having that cough. I was sick 2 weeks ago and you kindly adjourned this to today for me.
All right. Now I know where Sally got it. She's real sick. Now I know. I was trying to single out who it was. Now I've
Now you know it's
narrowed
me.
it down. She only hugged 200 people
I know,
that
I was gonna say,
weekend.
I wasn't the only one she hugged that day.
All right. Anyway, this was something we gave serious consideration to sobriety court. Facts are bad. History is bad. Ms. Yancey, what would you like me to know?
Well, Your Honor, I reviewed the report by Ms. Kiefer. I did provide her, my client did do the alcohol highway safety education course. And he also did a assessment and I counted 47 AA meetings that he has done. There's a few of them I did submit to Ms. Kiefer after she had gotten a report done because he continues to attend those. And I know that I'm gonna guess that because the assessment didn't say he needed something, that maybe that's why I didn't get the mitigating factors reduced from that. But I don't disagree with her recommendation and overall in terms of probation and continue with the 12-step program and to do testing. And then have him continue to follow the recommendation of the assessment that he did. I just didn't understand the 9 days credit, 9 days credit one, leaving 8 deferred and then 2 to be scheduled. So that was one thing I didn't understand, but I also I think that he should be given credit for all the things that he did because this is a case where I was retained. He immediately went out and got the assessment done. He immediately did the alcohol safety course. He did the victim impact course and he at least 2 to 3 times a week is attending AA meetings. So he has taken that seriously. This is also a case where he had to go out west for his business for a client of his that he is contracted with, where they had a piece of equipment that was down and it was going to force a lot of other people to be affected by that. And Your Honor allowed him to have a bond modification where he could travel out of state for those 10 days to do that. There were no issues with that. He came back. So he's followed everything that he's needed to do with regard to this matter. And not to make this an excuse, he had a period of time where he was sober.
Well, I was
He's
gonna ask
recently
that.
gone
Did you,
through
when
with the
you were
board.
sober in the past, did you participate in AA or did you just hold your breath for a while?
No, I had done some AA. I had had some health issues and was really starting to focus on that and looking back, seeing how it affected me was really my driving force behind that.
All right. Ms. Camfield, as I indicated, we discussed sobriety court. It doesn't appear that he's gonna fit because of his employment. You're gonna lose your driver's license. It's gonna get revoked. meaning you'll have no license for 5 years at least. You understand that? And you look like a deer in the headlights. Did you know that was coming? If I put you in sobriety court, you could get your license with an interlock device and eventually get your license back. But sobriety court does not work with your employment. We can't have you in sobriety court and go around the country working on projects. It's also going to be hard for you to test and do the treatment and participate in the program. So what Autumn has designed is a probation that's got some sobriety court components in it, but it isn't sobriety court, so I can't give you a driver's license.
Your Honor, is there any way that he could do, when he has to go out? I mean, it would be a hardship, I know, on the court too, but that he could do a tether at that time when he has to go out of state for the program?
It just won't work.
Okay.
Autumn and I have discussed it. I was hopeful. But let's back up. This is your third drunk driving offense and you almost killed yourself. And I'm mad at how many OUIs we get out of the Tomahawk bar. And here's another one. You were in a drinking, driving lifestyle, Tito and cranberry, some other drink, went from one bar, went to another bar, had drinks, and then drove home like it was nothing, except you almost killed yourself. You were almost 2 times the legal limit to drive a car, totaled your truck, caused a power outage. This is not inconsequential. Ms. Campbell, what's your thought here?
Your Honor, I agree with the court and Ms. Kiefer that this would have been an ideal sobriety court matter, and an appropriate probation given the circumstances of the case and the length of the history of priors. It would be ideal if he could speak to his employer and have only in-state assignments so that he can complete sobriety court. But if that's not the case,
I
then
think he's his own,
He is, he's his own employer,
He's his
he's
own-
self-employed.
but he's ready for it. As you know, we've got these young guys that aren't on the right platform. He's 47. He's had lumps on his head. He's intelligent. He's well employed. He's going to AA. He's ready to get sober, and I can't make it work. What's your thought regarding that?
What?
Making sobriety court work with your work schedule?
If things don't break, I'm fine. I mean, I don't travel a ton, but,
Well, it's gonna be hard for you to travel at all if you don't have a driver's license.
well, I know, that's the other thing.
And it isn't untenable. For example, let's say you're in phase 3 in sobriety court and you get a project where you have to go to Wichita to repair some equipment. We have worked with people to do that sort of thing with an either ignition interlock if they're driving their car, or some other sort of alcohol monitoring, like a smart start or some device to test. Doesn't test for anything other than alcohol. So if you're using edibles or worse, opioids or methamphetamine, doesn't show it. But most of our people, the problem is alcohol. But in the old days, and I'm showing my age, this is a felony. It's punishable by up to a year in jail, and it used to carry a minimum sentence of a year in jail. So you'd get 360 days in jail and do 300 days. That's what this used to carry. The world's changed. Now it's reduced to a second offense, and we used to do like 180 days in jail. So it's like, well, your job, it will either be waiting for you when you get out or it won't. But if you stay on this path, you're gonna be dead. So in most respects, you seem like the perfect kind of candidate for sobriety court. We call it pulling drowning people out of the water and pulling them up into the boat. And you're drowning. I'm sorry, Ms. Canfield, I don't know if I'd let you finish your remarks.
It's all right, Your Honor. This is an instance in which I would have thought that jail and leaving it at a higher level offense would have been appropriate. I understand the reasons for my office's reduction here. But I am concerned for the health of the defendant and the protection of the public. So I think that the recommendation is appropriate. I don't know if this is an instance in which we try sobriety court probation and hope that there's nothing that requires out-of-state travel. And if it does, have him test at a local agency wherever he's going for the duration that he's gone. I have seen that done before. It's a little bit more problematic. You have to get that agency to agree to do it.
What's your thought regarding that, Ms. Kiefer?
It's difficult. We haven't allowed anyone else to do that.
We have in short terms. We allowed one guy to go years ago they were for an RV company. He had to go set some stuff up in Texas, but he was farther through the process.
There's a couple different factors to this, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
We discussed his employment. He's been doing it for many, many years. And as he stated, it's just if they need me kind of thing, which I understand. From the assessment that he had completed at the Community Healing Center, it states that there is no current evidence of a substance abuse disorder. Also, Mr. Miller doesn't.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Mr. Miller also stated to me openly that he doesn't have an alcohol problem, and it was a previous relationship that he was in was the reason for all of his drinking. So I understand that the court wants to help.
Well, we talked about this as staffing. It's
Yeah.
like, well, if he doesn't think he has a problem, then why are we gonna waste all of our resources on him?
And I understand that he's going to have implications potentially for his employer, or for his employment with not having a driver's license. We have 14 people in the sobriety court program, and we are stretching ourselves thin. And I would prefer to have someone in the program that has an active alcohol addiction that is going to require the help and heavy supervision that this program is going to entail. And I'm sorry, but at this point, I think placing Mr. Miller on a regular probation is warranted. He's completed the victim impact panel. He's doing online 12-step meetings. That way he can complete those. He has, if he's gonna continue to attend things for other services that were recommended from his assessment, which I'm not gonna go into at this point. If he's gonna complete that, that's fine. But at this point, my recommendation for him would be regular probation. And if he needs to file an appeal to the circuit court for a hardship license, then he can do so at that time.
All right. Oh, I forgot about that. We
Yeah, I
discussed
did
this.
too.
You got an
disagree
alcohol
with his
problem,
opinion.
whether you agree with it or not. You're a highly functional alcoholic. The fact that you were just going out drinking and just gonna drive home, which was just like any other Saturday night, is the scary part. And I want you in sobriety court more than you want to be in there. You don't want to lose your driver's license, and I don't blame you. But I understand Autumn's recommendation. They did give you a first offense here. I'm going to order 39 days jail. I'm going to do it 24-month probation. You could be discharged at the end of 12. 39 days jail, credit 1. leaving 38 days to serve. We're gonna defer 36 of those?
You can defer them all, Your Honor.
No, he deserves more than 1 day in jail
I
for
would recommending to.
knocking the power out. But I'm gonna hang some jail over his head. Of the 38 days ordered, 36 are deferred, and you're gonna do at least a weekend as opposed to a year in jail. There's a $300 fine, a $75 crime victims' rights fee, a $50 state minimum fee. I'll cut the screening fee in half. There is no attorney fee. There's $960 patient oversight fee. And a police reimbursement of $255 to the sheriff's department. And as it is, you've got a lot of the obligations of sobriety court without the benefit. I guess we could always amend it if it thinks it does become appropriate. But this was very serious. $300 plus $125 in costs, plus $50 screening fee, $960 probation oversight fee, $255, total of $1,690. He posted a $500 cash bond, which leaves $1,190. And if you do this in 6 months and 12 months, it'll save you $480. Which is about $790. All right, no drugs and no alcohol, just as direct counseling and treatment. You're barred from the Tomahawk Bar while you're on this probation. You're not to use any drugs or alcohol, including marijuana. Now you've got, I don't want to get to, you got medical issues in your jaw. Are you receiving any kind of treatment for that?
It's all holistic treatment.
Well, if they prescribe medication for that.
I don't take any medication.
All right. All right. Well, if it does, you can take any medications as prescribed.
Will he be able to schedule those 2 days with the probation department?
Yes. All right. You can go with a probation agent. She'll get you plugged into this. And you're free to go. Ms. Yancey, thank you for your help. We were able to resolve all of those cases, difficult cases. Let me repeat, that could potentially be amended if sobriety court is something that would be appropriate. But as Ms. Kiefer said, we're sort of splitting at the seams right now. Frankly, I'd rather have you than some of the people I currently got in there, but if you don't think you have a problem, then maybe I'll spend my resources someplace else. All right, you can go with your PO and good luck, sir.
All right, we'll start with Deborah and Charles Blagg and Shirley Pavao. Yeah, the Blaggs would unmute, please. And Ms. Pavao, unmute. And if you'd all raise your right hands, please. Swear the testimony in this case be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do. I do.
I do. Thank you. All right, so we're here for our second hearing. We continued it at the request of Ms. Pavao. I've reviewed the documents, I've reviewed the video. The Blaggs have anything else they want to add besides what's in the file?
Well, after Friday, after the time had ended for uploading documents to the county clerk's website, I received actually last week after the protective order was issued, I received 3 emails from Ms. Pavao's attorney, Mr. Drury. The first email was asking us if we would speak to him to try to settle, and we declined that. Then he sent us a copy of Ms. Pavao's response, which was not on the website. So when I made a statement, I didn't address it. And then this weekend, he sent us another statement from a neighbor. I just want to address the fact that a lot of the background information of things that happened in the past that are our speculation as to why Ms. Pavao became obsessed with us is really irrelevant. I mean, I think the video pretty much shows where it's come from. Ms. Pavao has claimed that we've harassed and bullied her. She provided no evidence to the same. I've had incident reports we submitted to our COA. I asked them for any incident report she'd submitted to on our behalf, and there was one, and it had to do with the incident that was mentioned in the pre-trial documentation. The bottom line is, she also had a neighbor write a statement. This is a neighbor that we know who she is, and she lives here. We've had no encounter with her. We have never once encountered her with Ms. Pavao while we were walking. The only witnesses to what's happened between us has been the witnesses that we have, who unfortunately declined to testify because they feared reprisal. I do have people that are here with us, one of whom had actually filed a police report against her last year. Began the process for a protection order, but then they went out of town, and so they kind of dropped it. But I have people who can testify, if necessary, to having experienced very similar behavior to what we did. But I also witnessed her driving, and her driving around and following us on the streets. But I think the main thing is that video, the level of intensity, we were shaking when we got home that day. She scared us, and it is, and yes, she's put her place up for sale, Your Honor, and that's her choice. I didn't want her to leave the neighborhood; just leave us alone is all we asked. But she could always take that off the market. It may not sell. She may come back here to visit. We definitely request respectfully that you would proceed with the protective order against her, so that we can feel safe in our own neighborhood.
And Your Honor, I'm a disabled vet. I have PTSD, and what she did on the video, I mean, that has affected me and still affects me. If she were to be in the park, I don't feel safe walking around without a witness.
It's the name calling, it's the profanities, it's the shouting, it's the following. I mean, following and recording us over and over again without our knowledge, without our consent. We're in private property. This entire resort is private property. The streets are private property. They're owned by the COA. My understanding that it is illegal to record someone without their knowledge or consent. So she's been doing that repeatedly. She admits that she records, supposedly for her own safety, but she presented no video evidence or other evidence that showed us ever stalking her, yelling at her, shouting her, or threatening her. It's never happened.
Short of the one time I did 2 years ago. I've made amends to that.
All right. Mr. Drury, does Ms. Pavao wish to add anything to what has already been filed?
Could we have Jose and Renata please mute your video?
Renata and Jose, if you would mute, please. There you go. Thank you. Muchas gracias.
Sorry about that. Yes, are we essentially concluding statements here, Your Honor? Are we?
She can present any further testimony if she has anything. Like I said, I've read, including the new document that was filed. So if Ms. Pavao has anything else she wants to add, now would be the time.
Okay. Ms. Paval, I guess there's a continuing allegation that you follow the Blags, essentially seek them out in the community or follow them with your car. Do you intentionally seek contact with the Blags or follow them around the community?
I do not.
The video that was submitted, what were you out doing that day? Were you attempting to follow the Blags that day?
No, I was walking my dog in his stroller in the opposite direction of the Blags.
Okay. Mr. Blag, I think just briefly stated that the only time he harassed you was that incident 2 years ago where he yelled out at you. Is that correct?
No, there was an incident in the back porch.
Can you please, and I apologize. Thank you. Could you state your answer again?
There was an incident in the back 40. It's a little hiking area.
How long ago was that?
The last couple years, I'd say.
Okay. What happened in that occurrence?
They began questioning me about whose dog I had with me. Was it supposed to be with me? It went on and on, the same questions. I ignored them.
No, you didn't.
Stop. Okay, don't interrupt, please.
All right.
I ignored them as long as I could. I kept on doing what I was doing, gathering the dogs. And eventually I told Deb not to talk to me because ignoring them was not working. By that time, Deb was to the left of me and Chuck was to the right of me. And my back was to some debris.
Understood. Did that feel like they were harassing you on that incident?
It did. I mean, I was ignoring them. And finally, when I reacted, Chuck's response was to shut the F up.
Okay. That sort of loud, confrontational, sometimes swearing, is that typical of, would you say, when Mr. Blag confronts you or calls out to you?
Yes, it's always loud and it's always aggressive.
Ahí, en las 13, ¿no?
Okay, Jose, just keep it muted. I'll let you know when to turn it on, please.
Thank you. And Ms. Paval, as part of your filings, you submitted message board commentary from a Robert Winkler, from I shouldn't say testimony, Your Honor, I apologize. Message board communications from a Robert Winkler, a Colleen A, as well as a Kelly Ann. Do you recall what the purpose of those appear to be communications back to the Blags on the community message board? Is that correct?
Yes, and on Nextdoor.
Okay. Have other community members confronted the Blags, at least in community message boards, about sort of this focus on criticizing you online? I mean, for example, these three, is that what they're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. Besides those three, have other community members utilized the message boards to, at least respond to the Blags about apparent criticism of you over the message boards?
Yes, they do get some confirmation from Kathy Hutchison. She participates in backing Deb up as far as my work being a fire hazard, things of that nature, and me bringing disease into the park.
Thank you. And I apologize, Mr. Muskoff, could you please mute yourself?
Yes.
Kathy Hutchison also was the one who had the plants that the Blags accused me of destroying and never spoke up until I filed an incident report. And the board made her acknowledge that she did in fact have the plants and I had destroyed nothing.
Okay. And then going to this incident on the 7th, that was your recording, is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I know you already testified in your statement regarding your safety concerns regarding recording. Is your, anytime during those recordings, do you point your cameras at the Blags or?
No.
Okay. Where is what are you using to record?
My phone.
Okay. And is it when do you turn it on?
When I see them and a couple other in the park, just in the event that something occurs. I have some documentation
Okay. And why are you worried about something occurring?
because it does. It's random. It happens consistently, either on the message board or physically.
And the I think that's probably it. Well, going back to the 7th, I mean, have you watched that video yourself?
Yes.
Okay. Is that typical of your, I mean, would you agree you were pretty either angry or emotional that day?
I was extremely emotional. My voice was shaky. My voice was cracking. I was tired. I was just walking by them. I told my dog to stay.
Okay.
And I think it's unreasonable for Chuck to tell me not to talk to him after he initiated a conversation with me.
Okay. Did you, after that video, did you follow them or where did you go after that?
I turned around and went back home.
Were you far from your home?
No.
Okay. All right. I have no other questions for my client, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, Mr. Drury. Blacks, have anything else you want to add?
Yes, definitely. So first I want to mention the incident in the back 40 she refers to. We were out picking blackberries. We were on the side picking blackberries. A dog that I was not familiar with came running by us. It was not Shirley's dog. I know
Wasn't leashed.
it was just running by us. All right. And there are coyotes out there. The back 40 is a dangerous place. So I looked down and I said, Chuck, look, this dog is out here alone. And so I walked around the corner where I saw Shirley and I said, Shirley, is this your dog? I thought maybe she got a new dog. And she screamed at me not to talk to her. Don't talk. And I said, I'm sorry. I just was worried about the dog. If it's your dog, then fine. And I left. There was no other exchange. Chuck was not on either side of her. He was around the corner. I was the one who talked to her. That's ridiculous. Second thing I want to comment on is she talks about how she always videos us because there have been so many incidents. Where's the video? Where's a single video that shows one of us yelling and screaming and cursing and threatening her? The day of the incident on the 7th, we were walking. She came towards us. My husband and I looked at each other and said, just walk on. Because we didn't have a place to turn off to. She came by, her dog kind of leaped up like it was going to get out of its stroller and barked, at which time Shirley yelled at the dog to be quiet. Chuck is on the other side. He didn't have his hearing aids in that day. All he said was, what did you say? And he said it in an angry manner because she's constantly doing this to us, constantly following us and yelling at us. And as soon as he said, what did you say? She went ballistic. So I walked on, I turned around and I said, Shirley, I heard you talking to your dog. Sorry, calm down. She did not calm down. Instead, she turned around and she followed us 2 blocks back to her place. Walked 2 full blocks. She stopped at her street. Finally, that's when she turned around and said, come kick my ass, mentioned my husband having a little dick and all these F-bombs she was throwing at us. She stopped right there. We continued on. The only thing we said to her in that exchange back was either calm down or be quiet or leave us alone or don't follow us. She literally followed us down. And we did have another neighbor who saw that. She even says in the video, she asked that person to watch the dog when she puts the stroller aside. That person, unfortunately, is not healthy and did not want to get involved. But her name is very clear. And if I have to, if this is not going to work, then I'll go get subpoenas for the witnesses that we have. I did not want to force a neighbor to come to court and face another hostile neighbor when they didn't want to. Trying to think, there was one other thing she mentioned. And all the message board stuff. Okay, Your Honor, you have the messages. You have what we wrote. You have what she wrote. You have her telling me to F off. You have her going on and on about shit on another one. There was not a single disrespectful, profane comment made in anything we posted on that board. I would stand by that board any day. I try to always be respectful on the board. You know, there are some incidents that have happened in our community that she has been the center of. She tried to paint us as a racist community, brought the news crews out here into our community, videoing people and making us look bad, put it all over the internet, on YouTube, on Nextdoor. And we did engage in some conversation about how we thought that was inappropriate for her to do. But you will not find anything in writing with our names on it. I think the worst thing that you'll see in anything was Chuck made a comment about her being childish. That's it. No anger, no hostility, no profanities.
All right. Thank you.
We do have people.
Now, I do have also, she mentioned Miss Hutchison. Ms. Hutchison is here right now. If she could easily speak with regard to that incident on the flowers. But, you know, the truth is that garden isn't the issue. What happened there isn't the issue. These little things are not the issue. The issue is she is angry. She's volatile. She is frightening. She's loud, profane, and frightening. And I have another person here in the room, Renee, who also witnessed her following us one time. She was willing to speak. I mean, I have several people here in this community who can attest to the honesty of what we're talking about and to her behavior, if that would help.
All right. Thank you. Yeah, it struck me listening to the video that was provided was, do I think Ms. Paval was the dominant agitator in the video? Yes, but there was also mutuality in the video. There was a back and forth, and it's not like one person's being silent and the other just is continuing to harangue. There's agitation back and forth, and I'm not. This isn't debatable. I'm just telling you what I saw and what I heard and what I've read, and I think if I was convinced that Ms. Paval, if I didn't have information that she was leaving, I might do something different. But Ms. Paval's last I saw was in Oregon. She's put her house up for sale. I'm going to assume that this is going to be the effective resolution of this case. I'm not going to get law enforcement involved in this, and I'm going to deny the petitioner's request for an order, not because of Ms. Paval's behavior. It's inappropriate, but I think the response from the Blags in some degree, particularly in the video, was inappropriate. So Ms. Paval, I'm denying the Blags' request for the order. I will indicate to you that they have the right to refile a petition if you show up back at the park and the same behavior occurs. They have made very clear in filing this petition that they don't want you to contact them in any way. And so you should respect that. And by contacting them in any way, I mean in any way. So if you're back at the park doing whatever you do, and you come in contact with them, they have the right to come into court and say, after we had all that long hearing, she's still doing the same thing. There will likely be a different resolution to this case. But for now, I'm not going to enter a protection order.
Your Honor?
No, I'm not debating it. The request is denied. Do you have a question?
Well, no, I mean, if you heard the video, I mean, we said.
Okay, I'm not debating the facts. If
Right.
you have a question, I'll answer the question.
What about while her house is on the market? We have this temporary restraining. Can we at least have that continue until the house is sold?
No, there is no longer a restraining order. We've had our full hearing.
Okay.
And I've made very clear to Ms. Paval, she used to have no contact with the Blags. If she does, you have the right to come back and ask for a full order. And I've indicated that if I'm convinced she's the initiator of that contact, then you'll likely get the order at that time. But for now, I don't think it's appropriate.
All right,
All
thank
right.
you. Your Honor.
Thank you all. Summer Hocking, Robert Muscoff.
Present.
Hello, Your Honor.
Morning, everybody. If you'd raise your right hands for me, please. Swear that testimony in this case will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
I do.
All right, Ms. Hocking, two of you are neighbors, is that correct?
Yes.
And you indicate that Mr. Muscoff has on repeated occasions flipped you off, and you provided statement of a painter who said you got the same treatment. I think
Yes,
is that Mr. Butler? Is that his name?
Yes.
I got the same treatment from Mr. Muscoff, and you have anything beyond that you want to add to the facts?
No, Your Honor. The pattern of harassment and hostile behavior is just continuing, and we feel very unsafe, and we are asking for a 1 year of no contact.
All right, and my sense in reading the documents that have been filed is it's your belief this stems from a property line dispute, is that?
Yes, the property line dispute has been solved. It's more of a fence issue now. And they have lawyers sending us paperwork, and we just won't sign off on it. So they're pretty new neighbors to us. They just moved into their house last spring.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Mr. Muscoff, anything you want to add?
I think you have the video that shows the statement of Stephen Butler is totally false. Yes, I do flip them off. I acknowledge their presence when they are intrusive on what we are doing in our own backyard. Calling her a piece of shit is when she was trying to rip out our fence post back in July. And as soon as I said that, I walked away. My wife was on the phone with 911 when Officer Zamora came out. And when Officer Zamora was out in our backyard, Summer was approaching us up her property line, and Zamora had to tell her to go back. They're always slowing down and being intrusive and almost coming to a stop, being nosy, and intimidating in what we are doing at our own property. And that's what's going on. Like I said, the video that we sent in clearly shows the only interaction I had. I have no communication with this Stephen Butler whatsoever. The only communication I have with Summer and Ben were back in July at the fence, and a couple days later on their daughter's side of they lived on the other side. They were putting up a barrier fence on our property. The fence is in our property line, 2 to 10 feet down the line, and they are destructing our property and trespassing. And I spoke my mind like that will be coming down. It's on our property. I walked away. I have not been hostile. I've not been aggressive. It's just ridiculous on what they've claimed and what the Stephen Butler had mentioned. The only thing that is right in that statement was the timeline at 3:45. As you'll see, my phone records that we submitted shows I was on the phone with the non-emergency police at that time and had got a call back from a deputy. And since the filing, they filed this petition on the 26th, which is the day of that video. So Ben had threatened to fuck me up and come over here. We got something to show you and all that. That video shows me walking out to my mailbox, closing the gate. The dogs had already been barking. I was already outside backyard, and they were barking continuous before that. And at first I did not see anyone over there. It was under frustration, is like, shut the fucking dogs up. You know, it's just ridiculous that we have, and animal control had already been notified about them barking all the time. And that's when I saw Ben Hawking go up on the front porch, and I waved and flipped him off. It was like under frustration. And that's when he threatened me. And that's when I came in and called the authorities. I and my wife don't want anything to do with them. Just leave us alone. It's ridiculous on them being aggressive in their behavior, coming up to the fence, recording us, um, pertaining to that fence issue where she was trying to rip out our fence. And that part of the fence, we had a little extra wire that I folded over. It was not connected to the wooden fence, and it was to keep our dogs out under our fence agreement. And like I said, it was not attached to their fence. And she started yanking on our fence post, which was on the property line, inside the property line, actually. And that's when I was frustrated, called a piece of shit while my wife was on the phone with the 911. And then I immediately turned and walked away.
All right, thank you. And Ms. Hawking, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, that's all lies. He keeps referring to Ben Hawking yelling at him. That was the painter. Because like this, I don't even know what to say about any of this right now. All of it's lies. And we did call the police after he approached and threatened the painter. And the police told me that he also called regarding our dogs barking. I have one golden retriever that lives at my house, and he's mostly inside. But yeah, my husband has never threatened him. And
How was it work?
yeah, so it was the painter. We had the statement. I mean, I have a text message from the painter. He's completely twisted everything backwards. That's, yeah, he's, I don't even know what to say right now. This isn't, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just, wow.
How were you served, Mr. Boscoff? I don't have a proof of service in here. Who handed you the notice?
For the anti-harassment was September 29th at it was received September 29th at 3:23, but was filed on the 26th, which is the day of the video. And
How did you receive it?
An officer came to the door.
Okay, all right, yeah, I was just curious about that. Thank you.
Your Honor, I'd like to add, when it's my turn, I'd like to add something.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Boscoff, finish off.
All the vulgarities that the painter, I've been corrected, the painter about piece of shit, bitch and cocksucker, I never said. And the video shows how quick the video was and the only communication was. And that is a total fabrication and perjury.
Okay, thank you.
If I may like to include that all the other information pertaining to my wife, they proves that they are digging in and trying to provoke me and through my wife about the suicide attempt. There was no suicide attempt. I'm not here able to speak on her behalf. She's not here to defend herself, but that has nothing to do with this case. And it just shows how intrusive they are in our lives and intimidating and harassing.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Muscoff, do you agree with Ms. Hawking's statement that she believes the boundary line dispute has been resolved?
It's ongoing. On the Coker side, which is their daughter and son-in-law, the fence is not resolved. The Hawking side, we have the established boundary set. I was not tearing down, as her statement says, I was not tearing down the fence. We were clearing out the noxious weeds and brush and replacing it as we went. And that's where the fence was put back up, where she was trying to said it was her property, and because she thought I was encroaching, which was not, onto her wooden fence.
All right, thank you.
I have no problem with the no contact for a year because we don't want anything to do with them. We just want our property that we paid for, and our peace of mind, and just leave us alone.
Your Honor.
Just a second, Ms. Hocking.
Sorry, those videos are in sections because they only allowed so much time, space when to submit it.
Okay. All right, thank you, Mr. Muskoff. Ms. Hocking, go ahead.
We currently have a civil court case scheduled with Mrs. Muskoff regarding her pulling out our survey stakes, or a criminal case. Sorry about that.
And that has nothing to do with this case whatsoever.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Another thing is when it first started, when it was escalating, when he first started to flip me off, when we drove by his house, he already had the cops at his house. So to say I'm slowing down, that is correct. My daughter lives on the other side of him and we're waiting for the gate to open. So I don't care what they're doing, but I don't know if he thinks I'm being nosy because I'm slowing down, but he has had cops there. We have noticed the guns were being removed from his household. So, yeah.
Again, that has nothing to do with this case.
Yeah, I don't need it back and forth. Thank you. Having reviewed all the files and listened to the testimony of the parties, I am going to grant the request for the protection order. The order will be in effect for 1 year. Ms. Hocking, if you want it renewed, you'll have to come back to court and ask for it at that time to be renewed. Mr. Muskoff, the order is renewed under the same conditions that the temporary order that you received was issued. So those conditions still apply. You're to have no contact at all with the Hockings. If you have any disagreement with the use of the property, you're going to have to, call law enforcement. You're going to have to work through whatever counsel either one of you have, but you cannot have any contact with the Hockings. You clear?
Yes, I have a question on that. Being a third party contact is part of the stipulation. Their family on the other side has been harassing me also when we were out working on our property. And
right.
Is that one way?
Yes, it is one way. I don't have any requests from you for an additional order. I wouldn't grant one in this case. If you believe that Ms. Hocking's daughter is harassing you, you have to file a petition and see if a court grants an order.
Understood.
All right. The orders, I've signed the order. It will be in effect for 1 year. Ms. Hocking, do you have any questions?
I do have a question. Does this include Mr. Muskoff has been placing a chair at his property facing into our property, which is considered surveillance? Is that also allowed or is that not allowed?
I haven't addressed anything regarding the chair, and that's going to be a little problematic.
Okay.
All right. So the order is in effect under the exact same terms as the temporary order was.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, folks. You indicate they come onto your property and they yell at you?
That's what happened once. She came over. I was in the backyard trying to clean up because we had ordered a dumpster. She was hollering my name and I came up from the backyard and just assumed it was going to be some kind of conversation. And she just went off and calling me names and then heading for the front door, which is my mom was inside watching MSNBC like she always does. And she was screaming my mom's name and was heading for the front door. I got in between her and the front door. And right before that happened, or right at the time that happened, she slapped me. And then I told my mom, get back, because at that point, she was in the threshold of the doorway. And I told my mom to get back, that she had just slapped me, and she immediately said that I was a liar. When all this happened, obviously the police were summoned, and they showed up, listened to both sides, but they advised me immediately to go get a restraining order, because there's not much they can do to help me if there's going to be a problem unless I have a restraining order. So I applied for that.
And let me interrupt you for a second. Did you report to them that Ms. Stills hit you?
Of
Slapped you?
course, yeah.
And I mean, you don't need a restraining order to keep somebody from hitting you. So they didn't follow up on that?
The order was served by the OEPD and.
No, I mean, the police, when you reported that you were assaulted, did they follow up with a criminal complaint regarding an assault?
They did not. They recommended that I not press charges and filed for the restraining order, and then the situation could be monitored legally.
All right, just so you know, it's not up to the person whether the charges are pressed or not. It's up to law enforcement to decide whether to follow up and send a report to the prosecutor's office. So just so you know, they somehow put the burden on you, and it's not your. If you tell them you're assaulted, they should do an investigation as to whether you were assaulted or not. I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah. Again, they
Okay.
recommended that it would be better to just follow through with a restraining order and have it just be done once it's served. They were served twice.
So I had some difficulty reading through all your through your petition. You know, it's in your handwriting and it goes all around the pages. So I was trying to figure it out as best I could. So I saw that it looks like perhaps your dog hurt their dog.
Yes, my dog did hurt their dog, and I immediately, the very next day, had my dog euthanized. They've been paid $5,000. I don't have 5,000, but my mom does, and it's her house, it's her property. So they were paid 5,000. 2,300 of it was when she took my mom to the bank and had her withdraw $2,300 to hand over to them. I was in Providence. I was in the hospital, and I have the whole situation just I just couldn't deal with it, and I was admitted. I had myself admitted, and I stayed for 5 days because they think that the only people that are allowed to grieve are them, and that's my grieving was a lot, and I had myself admitted to Providence, and they looked me over and said, "Yeah, please, if you'd like to, we can help you." I mean,
okay, all right. So, what are the other things? What are the issues with the stills? Is it just this one-time incident? Is there?
well, no, I mean, not right after that, she kept screaming and using the C word and bitch and all that stuff, and then as she, after she told my mom that she never slapped me, which happened 2 seconds before, she started to head back to her home because my mom was like, "Go home. You need to go home, go home." And she headed out of our driveway across the street, and then started inside of the house, started screaming whatever from inside the house. And since the houses are so close, you can hear everything. So then when the police showed up, she stood in the driveway with a cigarette, doing her best James Dean pose and trying to look intimidating. And at that point, the police were there talking to both of us. They talked with me for a very long time. And again, recommended that I go get a restraining order so that if this happens again, it will be dealt with. And I'd like to point out, if I may, right after I got here to this courtroom, she turned around to me and says, I'm not supposed to be within 100,000 feet of you. And I'm like, well, it's a courtroom. And I know she's not allowed to maybe comment on it, but she was here and she heard it as well. So that's what we're talking about. There was no reason for that.
Okay, so this incident at your house occurred what date?
Very end of August. I don't have the exact date. It should be on the paperwork. And I was granted a temporary restraining order.
Mhm.
I've been here, this will be my third time that I've been here to get this dealt with and over with. The restraining orders the orders were not submitted. I was working with the OEPD. They weren't able to get to submit the order, and when it came down to being close to this day, I hired a private server. Both the officer and the server did what they're supposed to do, or did what is necessary, and both of them returned and filed their paperwork with proof of service.
Has anything happened since?
No, but she's got a mouth, and I don't want to hear her. She, just like when I came in here, and she turns to me and says, I'm not supposed to be within 1,000 feet of you. I mean, I don't know what kind of comment how that's appropriate for the courtroom. And towards me, just another way to antagonize.
So had there been a history of this prior to the injury to the dog?
No. She's definitely not one of my favorite people. And I did go to their house twice after the dog my dog was euthanized, and right after the incident happened the very next day, where they suggested that, not suggested, she said she was going to call animal control, and there's no way I was going to let my dog, she's a rescue dog, she's got issues, we tried to help her, we had conversations twice at their house. The second time was after I got out of the hospital. And again, the conversations that went on there, she was, I understand that what happened to their dogs was wrong. It was. And we've tried to accommodate that financially and with our euthanasia of my dog the very next day. And the last conversation I had with them at their house on their patio was one of the things she mentioned was that she was almost going to call the authorities, saying that I was negligent of taking care of my mom, which is, the only reason she's not here is she's 82, and but she, I tried to talk to them. They said their grandson was going to go off the rails if he knew about this and knew who we were. And then the accusation of calling the authorities because I'm neglecting or abusing my mom is way over the top. Now, that was the last time we spoke, until she came over in the driveways and was screaming at me and my mom in our driveway.
Okay, and that's the same incident where you were slapped?
Yes.
Okay. Has Mr. Stills done anything?
He, not specifically as far as what she does, as far as his mouth, but he did come home. He works for Lyft. He came home immediately when she called him and got up to the surveillance camera that they have, and I'm sure deleted that right away because he came out with his computer. We don't have a surveillance system at our house because we have never, ever needed one or felt like we've ever needed one. That was also a recommendation from the Ole PD that it would have been better if I would have had one of those. But they also they said that one of the gentlemen, police officers who worked for the Ole PD for 9 years, said that this is only the second time they've ever been to our neighborhood. And he was very adamant about that. And
Okay, so Mr. Stills hasn't done it. The issue is between you and Ms. Stills, is that right?
well, he does whatever she says. So it doesn't.
Okay, but he had, as far as you're concerned, any interaction with you, there hasn't been any. Okay, all right. Ms. Stills?
Yes, thank you. Nervous, and I have notes. Up until the events that led up to this, the actual dog attack, my husband had been friends and neighbors with the Beltons for 30 years, and I for almost 20. We had a great relationship.
We haven't been.
Okay, no, don't interrupt. Let Ms. Stills tell me what she's going to tell me.
On the 29th of July, I was home in my kitchen. It was a hot summer day. My windows were open, the sliding glass doors. And I believe it was the perfect storm. I believe Miss Belton accidentally left her gate open. Our gate was closed but hadn't latched. Her dog got out, heard our dogs barking, and I watched her dog attack our next door neighbor and his dog a month before. Her boyfriend was able to pull the dog off before anyone was hurt. Anyway, the dog heard our dogs barking, came through the gate, through our sliding glass door into my kitchen, and before I knew it, was attacking my dogs underneath my kitchen table. I started screaming for help. My husband was downstairs. I grabbed a dining room chair trying to keep this dog off my dachshund, who was down. My husband came up. Between the two of us, we managed to yard this dog out the front door. As we were doing that, Michelle came up our driveway because she heard me screaming. She didn't know what was happening because she didn't know the dog was out. I said, "Is this your dog?" She said, "Yes." I said, "Get it out of here. It just attacked my dogs." Grabbed my dachshund, rushed it to the emergency room where it had puncture wounds from head to toe. They thought she had a punctured lung, in extreme pain, and they kept her overnight. We got home to realize that my grandson's Chihuahua had also been hurt. She couldn't pick up her hind legs. They rushed her to the emergency vet. They kept her. They thought she had a spinal injury. The next morning, we asked Michelle and her mother as the homeowner to come over and talk to us about what happened. We hadn't had a chance to talk. I wanted them to know the severity of what had happened. We were all cordial. Her mother agreed to pay the vet bills. Michelle asked me what I planned to do about the dog. I said, "I believe that dog's dangerous. You need to have her put down. If you're not going to agree to that, I will call animal control." She said, "Can I take it to my own vet?" I said, "Absolutely. I don't want to call animal control on you." We hugged. They left. She agreed to that and was going to happen that morning. We went to the vet to pick up our dogs and were told she was on her way in there with the dog because her vet wasn't available. They made sure we didn't cross paths. We came home. The next morning, I noticed that Michelle had not come home and I was concerned, so I went and asked her mom about it. She said she didn't know anything. They hadn't heard from her. I came home and I asked my husband to call the vet. I said, "See if she made it there. At least we can go from there." The vet told us she had brought the dog in, the dog was euthanized, and she came out and said, I'm leaving my car in your parking lot. I'm walking to my psychiatrist's office and going to ask to be admitted. I ran over, told her mom and her boyfriend, I believe your daughter's in the hospital. A couple of days later, on the 31st, on the August 1st, I took the vet bills I had over to her mother. Her mother was insisting on paying me in cash. I wasn't comfortable with that. I asked her to call her son Joe to get on the phone. He lives in California. I wanted to make sure another family member was on board, knew what was happening. She asked me to take her to the bank the next day. I did. She had a bunch of cash in her purse. So I made sure she didn't draw out any more than she needed to. She wanted to give me $5,000 because we knew the vet bills were around 42 at that point. There was going to be a couple more for follow-up visits. As soon as I knew what those vet bills totaled to, I went over and took her back the change, which was around $560, which Michelle told me the night she came over I should have just kept. It wasn't,
Okay. Just don't respond.
it wasn't her money to say that. When she came over that night, yes, the argument got heated and we had to ask her to leave. She knew that I was going to be, the Hannah, the Chihuahua, had taken a turn for the worse and couldn't walk again. And Michelle knew that we were going to be taking her back to the vet the next morning. The day after that, Hannah died. The vet told us it was from the stress and the back injury. And she was 15 years old. She was healthy. I brought that dog home 10 years ago on a plane from Florida with my daughter's body because she'd been killed in an accident. So yes, that dog meant the world to us. Fast forward to the day of this event. I saw Michelle out in her yard, and yes, I was really distraught and I was angry. I knew I shouldn't have gone over there. Michelle had gone down to the side of her yard. I yelled her name. This is where the story really varies. She rushed at me, got in my face, screaming at me, I just want to hit you. This isn't about you. I just want to hit you. I said, I need to talk to your mother. I went for the front door. She said, you are not, shoved me. I almost fell over a couple of boxes. And yes, I went like this and tried to backhand her. She was walking away. I barely brushed the back of her head. Her mother came out, started yelling at me to get off the property. And she said, and I quote, you need to get over it. That was an old fucking dog.
Who said that?
Her mother.
Okay.
I was horrified. Who says that to somebody? I went home. I knew she was calling the police. I called my husband. He said, well, you were assaulted when she shoved you. So I called the police. We were advised to stay off their property. We treated that like a restraining order in itself. That day, we stopped going into our normal grocery store because she works there. I have not contacted her in any way since that day. 2 months later, I get served with a restraining order. We thought this was over and done with. I was getting over it. And now we relive it again today.
Ms. Pelton, you get the last word. Go ahead.
First of all, my mother never said that, about their dog, that it, I forget how she put it, but my mom said nothing except go home. She kept saying, go home to her.
So you were there at this time?
Oh, yeah, or, yeah, no, I was there for the whole thing, and she was inside the house watching the news.
All right.
I never, ever approached her and says, I want to hit you, ever. Ever. Tom, you weren't even there.
Okay, okay, just talk to me. That's all you're doing.
Gosh, what else? The dog situation, it was what it was. It is what it is. I can't fix it. I can't make dogs reappear after they've been euthanized. I do have quite a lot of information from the vet that should be in front of you. That
on the file.
Yeah, that talks about the injuries, and they're very much exaggerating. I'm not saying that what happened to their dog didn't happen, and what I had to do with my dog didn't happen. She was a rescue dog. We tried to help her. This happened, and she was euthanized. So, but again, like I said, as soon as I got here, she turned to me right back there and says, I'm not supposed to be within 1,000 feet of you. I pointed to your secretary over there, and I just said, can you, she's already harassing me. And then she said what she said, and I know we can't get her involved, and her statements don't necessarily, or can't be used, as far as the law is concerned. I don't think. When she approached me again, I had ordered a dumpster. I was cleaning out the backyard. I was all the way in the backyard, all the way, and heard her hollering for me. And I approached because I thought, just because I'm that person, it's like, yes, what would you like to discuss? I've always been that person. Again, invited over their house twice, went over twice to have conversations with them about the situation. And the over dramatization is what it is, not mine, theirs. But then, yeah, that day they basically almost threw me out of the backyard, and Tom kept arguing with me. He wasn't even there at any of that incident. I'm not saying the vet reports aren't accurate, but I do believe the vet reports that I submitted also bring the injuries and the whole dog situation down a notch. And I'm not saying it didn't happen. It was wrong of my dog to do it. She was euthanized 24 hours later. But to come over to my property and my mom's property, we live there. I take care of her. She came over in our driveway, was hollering my name, summoned me from the backyard. I approached because I didn't think there was going to be a problem. And then she just laid into me and just said, you killed my dog, you killed my dog. So yeah, then she started hollering my mom's name, heading towards the front door. I got in front of her to keep her away from the front door and her. She slapped me right in front of the hydrangeas. I headed for the door as she was screaming my mom's name. I was like, Mom, she just slapped me. Get back. And she immediately turned to me and says, you're a liar. And my mom was just shaking her head like, what in the heck? So, but I do believe that some of the stuff the things I did submit were relevant to the situation and what happened, and that we didn't have to be financially responsible. We chose to be financially responsible, which is fine. That's the right thing to do. And it's putting down your dog that you love. If it's the right thing to do, it has to be done. After putting my dog down, I went over to my therapist's office, parked my car, went in, handed him my keys, and says, "Please call 911. I have to go to the ER or Providence, whatever." So the ambulance guys came to where my therapist's office, which is Northwest Resources, and talked to me for a while. I was hysterical. They were getting me to calm down. And I said, please take me to Providence, please. I'm just like, this is way too much. Again, their grief, they think, is more important than my grief and Jason's grief and all of this. So Jason, my boyfriend, he lives there as well. He doesn't have, and hardly ever has ever had contact with them other than, a wave when you park the car on the street. I was just blown away by the whole thing. If I thought there was going to be a problem, I wouldn't have responded to her calling my name over and over again. I would have went inside the downstairs door, but I went and approached her because everyone's due a conversation, and under the circumstances, what happened was terrible. They were compensated $5,000. I don't know why I don't know why she would have to come over and take my mom to her bank and withdraw $2,300. The folks at the bank were very, very alarmed, and they kept asking her, "Is this what you want to do? Is this what you want to do?" That's what my mom told me. And
Okay, I think we're kind of retreading a lot of the same.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, thank you.
Your Honor, can I speak again, please?
Hold on. First of all, it's as a dog owner myself, many years, many different dogs. I understand how they become our family. They become a family member, and loss of or injury to a family member is always very difficult, and it creates all kinds of emotions and feelings, and I understand it. And clearly this situation involves a lot of that. Both parties are really suffering from what's happened here. So I want to acknowledge that. I think what occurred between Ms. Belton and Ms. Stills is a real reflection of each of them really suffering from hurt to a family member and a response to that. That's how it appears to me, just listening to the two of you and reading what's been filed in this case. And I don't think a response in that type of situation that hasn't been something that's been progressively building over time is worthy of a court order and getting law enforcement involved. So I'm going to deny the order for the protection that Ms. Belton has filed, and the temporary order that had been issued is rescinded as of right now. What I will indicate, Ms. Stills, is that Ms. Belton has made it clear she doesn't want you coming onto her property. She doesn't want you having conversation with her. If she changes her mind, she can let you know and say, okay, time has passed and, we can have a conversation. But until that happens, she's made that clear that she doesn't want to do that by making the effort to file a petition with the court and coming in here and having a hearing. So I would strongly suggest you honor that. And Ms. Belton, if that doesn't occur, you are welcome to come back and file a request for protection in the future if you believe that there's communication or actions that warrant that. But for now, I'm going to take the approach that sounds like 2 dogs have been lost and 1 dog hopefully is recovered. And
3 dogs.
2 dogs that the 2 of you hopefully start to recover and can pass this. So please, no communication with Ms. Belton. Go on her property, and we'll just leave it at that. We'll give you each a copy of the denial order that I've signed, and it's denied for the reasons that I just gave. Amy Shearer, Nicole Heron. Shearer, good morning again. All right, we do have proof of service on Ms. Heron on the 30th of September.
Your Honor, may I say something?
Hold on just a minute.
Okay.
Ms. Shearer, what do you have to say?
So all of these cases that I keep having to get protections order on are neighbors that all relate back to Alana Woodward, because now another neighbor spent an entire night harassing me after Alana was by my house, and I called the police because I had a protection order against Alana that says she can't be by my home or on my property. And so the neighbor that's friends with her spent the entire night texting me, messaging me on Facebook, and just harassing me all night. This issue with Alana is just ongoing. And I didn't go get an order against that neighbor, but I mean, how many orders do I have to get against neighbors because Alana is like, it's just an ongoing issue.
Yeah,
It's getting out of control.
I can't answer that for you. We can only do one person at a time, so we'll do one for Ms. Heron. It's not here today.
That neighbor has not harassed me again, but if she does, can I come back and get an order against her?
You can petition for it. I can't,
Okay.
without reviewing the petition, I can't say
Yeah,
one way or
but
the
you're
other.
saying I can come back and request it. Okay.
Yep.
But as far as this case goes, yeah. Like I said, I'm about to be her neighbor on November 1st, and I would
Right.
just like
I saw
that she. What?
Said I
Sorry?
saw that. I saw that in there.
Yeah. So I would just really like it if I could just get this order granted and she could just not be on my property, not have any communication with me and my family, not harm us or anything, so that we can just go about our lives as neighbors peacefully.
Yeah, I have signed I will sign the full order here.
Thank
It'll
you.
be in effect 1 year from today's date. If you want it renewed, you'll have to come back to court and ask for it to be renewed.
I appreciate it because, like I said, she has came through my front door before, and it's just, not a safe feeling. What
It's
does
under the
the
same
order
terms as the
state?
temporary. I'm sorry?
So if we're neighbors, can that 10 feet thing be in effect?
That's going to be up to the managers of the apartment complex. You show them the order and they'll figure out what they're going to do about it.
Okay, and then is there any way to add to not be on my property or near my vehicle? Because I'm worried about her doing anything to my stuff or being on my property. Did you say yes or no?
Hold on just a second.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, she made a threat to your
To what?
vehicle. She think to your vehicle?
She hasn't, but the day that she threatened me, she parked right behind my vehicle, which made me super nervous. And she, like I said, she's definitely entered my home before, like pushed my front door through my front door. So I definitely
Okay.
want the
All right.
property thing for sure.
I'll add those, but what that's going to mean is this order doesn't take effect until it's served on her once again, since I'm changing the order. So,
That's okay as long as she can get served again and it has those things in it. I'm good with that.
okay, I've added those conditions that should not go within 10 feet of you, your residence, your vehicle, or your children.
But that is not a temporary, right? This will be the full order.
1 year from today's date.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you so much. So, and it will include the vehicle and the property, but she has to be served with that so she knows her rights and what she's restricted from.
That's exactly correct.
And you did
So you
add
want
my
to,
you did
yeah,
add
you
my
want to work.
children on this though, right?
I'm sorry.
You did add my children to this too, right? That she can't have any contact or harm my children.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. That's my only question. So,
You want to Lacey Police to get it served.
yes. So as soon as I receive it from the courts, I will call the Lacey Police Department and get that over to them.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Bye.
Okay.
Oh, I said great.
No. Mr. West, good morning.
Good morning.
And it looks like Mr. Roderick has not been served.
That's correct. I asked for a continuance. Did you get that paperwork?
I did. Said you're out of the country.
That's correct. I won't be home until the 18th.
Okay.
I'm hoping to get a continuance of 3 weeks. Is that possible?
So you changed the date. I think in your petition, you said that you'd be available starting the 27th.
Yeah, but hopefully I'm able to get him served before then. I just don't know how long it's going to take for me to get him served.
And the address on Rumack Street, is that where he lives?
He lives with his girlfriend there. He's there a lot of the time. I believe he has a house in Tacoma, Stilicum, somewhere up there as well.
But you don't know a location.
I don't. My guess is if I get his license plate on his Ram pickup truck, it's probably has his address up there on the ownership, the title. Your Honor?
Yep.
Will this temporary order, will this protect me, my property, including any vehicles?
Depends on what happened on the temporary order, and I'll take a look.
Okay.
The temporary order says no contact with you and not go within 1,000 feet of you. It doesn't say anything about your home or your property.
Okay. Is there any way of including my property or my vehicles? I have collector cars, and occasionally I drive them, and I'm afraid he might like key it or throw a rock through the window. I don't know. The guy's unstable, so I don't know what he's capable of doing, really.
Right.
Or he might try to break in my shop and do something with my vehicles out there.
Yeah, all those are crimes, of course. You know, trespass is a crime. Going onto your property is a crime. If he damages your vehicles, that's the crime of malicious mischief. So, you know, technically, you don't need an order to tell somebody they can't do what is illegal. Now, you know, maybe it helps a little bit. But if he does something like that and you have proof that he did it, he can be charged with a crime.
Okay.
I wasn't the judge. If you look at it here.
Okay.
Has he ever come to your house?
He is not since this happened, but he's been there before. He is a friend of a friend, not really, just an acquaintance of mine.
Right, I saw that. Yeah. How would we accomplish that? And are you expecting to have Lacey Police Department serve it?
That was my plan. That's what I'll plan on doing, yes.
Okay, you'll have to coordinate that with them.
Yes.
All right, Mr. West, I've added that Mr. Roderick can't come within 1,000 feet of your vehicle or your home or you.
Great, thank you.
And obviously, this order is not in effect until it's served on Mr. Roderick, and the hearing is the 24th of November. Your return to the country. So you'll need to coordinate with Lacey Police to get him served. Until he's served, then you don't have the benefit of the protection order.
Okay. Is it 9:30 again?
It's 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Yep. He'll be back on local time, so you'll.
All right. Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Yep, you're all done. Bye-bye.